when they say times were simpler, I think people knew their role and just did it, right? I feel sometimes we just kind of, in many ways, we're so flooded with information that we want to do everything, and at the end of that, we don't enjoy even one thing. Because we're kind of stretching ourselves so thin with like, oh, this is my identity, and we use all these concepts to apply on ourselves, like I have to be this role, that role, this role. Whether it's, professional, whether it's a friend, whether it's a parent, whether it's a sibling. And there, even in the professional world, there's so many roles you want to do, right? And I feel as a result, you're not even giving yourself a chance to enjoy one of those roles entirely.
Welcome to episode 10.
Is it 10?
I think so.
Well, if it isn't, then this is
going to be the next one.
We've become that generation now. I mean, I don't know about us specifically, but this collectively, millennials, X, Y, Z, whatever. I think we've gone from our parents' generation where they didn't communicate at all, or they didn't share at all what they felt, to over-sharing, over-communicating. Like, I feel there's too much. Like, even, okay, we do this, I suppose this is...
Over-communicating.
Yeah, but we're doing whatever, it's ideas we talk about. But I feel it's gotten to a point where it's like, dude, just shut up sometimes. Because I think there's too much discourse, there's too much noise, there's too much communication, too much about how I feel, it's my feelings, it's my this thing. I think there needs to be a shift back towards the middle in the pendulum, because it's gone from one extreme of not at all sharing and keeping everything in and bottling it up to everything needs to be discussed and debated.
So what is that middle then?
I think the middle is you need to not bottle it up, because that's clearly not healthy. But even this other extreme of letting everything out, because you know the right concepts, right? Saying you're anxious, or you have all these terms which are like these catchphrases, or these terms which, immediately people are like...
toxic.
Yeah, people are just like, wow, you poor thing. I feel even that clearly is not helping, because there are still people dying of stress.
So easily people are like, oh, that's so toxic. That's one word. What is the other word that they use? Triggered.
Triggered, toxic, authentic, lack of authenticity.
No, I'm saying from a negative...
I mean, even authentic is a negative thing, because you're clearly not authentic. You're just saying, and that's what the problem with these things, right? You're so easily able to drop these words, and people share that without actually feeling it. Other things people would feel so much but wouldn't share. So I mean, that's why I mean the end of the either end of the spectrum. Because what's the point of just saying things and then still dying of stress? One group would die of stress because they're just holding it all in. This group is because they're just saying the right things without feeling it.
Yeah.
So I feel that's where the over-communicate, and the tools are available, right? Like earlier, that's what I would remember, like letters, people would write letters. I mean, you would actually have to type it or write it, put thought into it, and then that would go in the mail, snail mail, which people don't even know, I think exists, which would go out there, and then if you go back on a thought, you're like, shit,
Let's talk about feeling.
Again, there's too much feeling talking about, even within couples, like, dude, just chill. Sometimes you don't have to share everything with your partner.
So like, for example, my grandparents my granddad was not here. Like, he was traveling all the time, and they would write letters, like you said, or whatever. But they were still fully in love. They would send, like he would send her love letters. I don't know if she responded back or whatever. Like, they were still, even though they were living their separate lives, they still enjoyed each other. It wasn't like, oh, you didn't write me a letter. Maybe it was, I don't know. But like...
I mean, that's, again, you're putting your perspective on what actually happened. But fair enough, because...
then what else will I put
I mean, because I think also, when they say times were simpler, I think people knew their role and just did it, right? I feel sometimes we just kind of, in many ways, we're so flooded with information that we want to do everything, and at the end of that, we don't enjoy even one thing, because we're kind of stretching ourselves so thin with like, oh, this is my identity, and we use all these concepts to apply on ourselves, like I have to be this role, that role, this role. Whether it's professional, whether it's a friend, whether it's a parent, whether it's a sibling, and there, even in the professional world, there's so many roles you want to do, right? And I feel as a result, you're not even giving yourself a chance to enjoy one of those roles entirely. And coming back to your point of your grandparents, maybe that's it. They um, I wouldn't say resigned to the fact, but that's what the reality was. This person, your granddad, would go and do his thing, and your grandmother would do her thing. They would communicate over letters, and that was, I think, the idea of love also changes, right? I think now even the idea of love is so spoken about, examined, analyzed, we don't even know what it means.
Yeah.
So I feel that's where the simpler times thing keeps coming up when we look at the past, right? Times were simpler, love was
I think you were
simpler.
also doing less, information was less. Like you're just kind of.
And you were content doing what you were doing, because I feel now everyone's told you can do whatever you want to do, you can be whoever you want to be, you can, the world is your limit. It's not. Some people are just to be happy that you're doing it, because now
No, I do think you can. The world is your limit, but like
I don't
you,
think so. I think some people just don't have the aptitude. They should
yeah,
just see, okay,
but
that's
like
it, be content with that. But I think people are so discontent because they're constantly being flooded with these images and these stories of, the things which you see on reels or on social media, where like this one guy did this and he started this Oyo and became this millionaire. There is so much struggle behind, whether it's Elon Musk's story or Ritesh Bansal, whatever his name is, right? The thing is, there are some people who can make it, and they have the drive and they have the ability and they have the willingness to take a risk, and they also are willing to attract those people and find the team. And there's some people who just don't.
yeah, but like you can't say it's not possible
It's not
because
possible. Some people
no,
just don't have it.
yeah, which is fine, but you
Yeah.
have to try to because you don't know if you have that possibility or not, or that capability or
Yeah,
not.
the problem is that that's where it causes this. It results in mediocrity, and you're supposed to celebrate mediocrity because no one, in quote
No,
unquote, is a fool. Because I think many people are just, they're dumb. They don't have it. And that, what I'm trying to say is nothing wrong with being that, but be content in your role. Whether it's a job, whether it's
I think that's what it is. It's not like the world is not your playground. It's that you have to understand how much you are capable of doing and be content with it.
and that's what's not happening, because
Exactly.
everyone's like, why can't I be this?
Yeah.
And that's when you have a lot of this resentment and you have
Yeah.
trolling. And
Yeah.
because, I mean, see, something as simple as going back to like the comedy space is, why do you think there's so many people just hating on comedians? Dude, you try putting out a joke yourself, whether you're a guy or a girl, whether you're from Bihar or whether you're from Bombay. Once you do it, then you know the process, right? But now, because you can't do it, you're able to sit behind a computer anonymously, just trashing people, whether it's for a product, whether it's for a service, whether it's for an art form. It's because you're discontent, because you were sold this idea that you can do whatever, pursue your passion. Like, there's a difference between, first of all, knowing your passion, pursuing it, the intricacies of what that pursuing involves, and the thing. Another thing I want to talk about is, we are also a generation, and I mean collectively across age groups, that takes things too seriously, dude. Everything is attached to an outcome. We're not able to enjoy the thing for what it is.
But
We
even
take,
you are personally, you take things
and
seriously.
that's what I'm talking about. I want to enjoy for what it is. I mean, I don't do everything too seriously, but sometimes I catch myself saying, why, whether it's, you know,
Call for.
I mean, there's a difference. I enjoy it. I don't attach too much to the outcome. So every time I do think of like what my handicap is or whether I'm scoring, I'm like, dude, you're still playing the game. You're learning. Enjoy that. But we take everything from fitness. We become fitness tracker, this tracker, that tracker. Whether it's eating, we take eating too seriously. Like, how fucking have we come to this place, right? Like, can't we chill
Chill.
out and not take everything so seriously, from friendships to marriages to work? I mean,
I think it's the expectations.
the outcome, the attachment,
Yeah.
right? If we can, and that's again ties back to earlier point, right? We're taking ourselves so seriously because we're told there's this certain path which we are expected to go down, that we kind of feel that if we stray off the path, if we don't commit our 200%, or I feel if there's a little more fun involved in everything we do, I think the outcome isn't as important.
I think there can be fun if there is nothing else too much at stake, whether it is, you know, for like meeting your needs daily, right, in terms of money and those kind of things, or if it's like personal harm or uh, disappointment, then you can enjoy things and take things more lightly. So, what is that base?
I
that
feel it's
you
also the way you
kind of
approach it. If you approach it with all this, I mean, if you approach it with this mindset of like do or die, or
not
it's
do or die. I'm saying like
no, if you approach a job saying this is my starting point, I'm going to get promotion next year, then all these things are what you just said is a byproduct of a disappointment. Then it's like I have to work this, otherwise I'm going to
no, but
not
like
get
I'm
this.
saying if you need to meet your daily needs, yeah, like
I
food on the
mean,
table type of
food
a
on the table, then you
situation.
get a job to food or whatever it
That's
takes.
what.
My point is that it doesn't end there, right? Food on the table is quite easy nowadays, for depending on what kind of food you want. But it's never enough because it starts with today, food on the table. Tomorrow, it's like rent for a bigger
That's
house. Then it's like investment. Then it's saving. Then it's a bigger car. It's a bigger home. So it's
never enough.
it's disappointment, right? But
Yeah.
I feel that's the thing we're approaching it with. We're taking things too seriously, and no one's saying that you shouldn't have money to provide for
But it's
yourself and your family.
aspirations, no? It's not
That's
like
not.
taking things too seriously.
I
Like
feel it's.
you're aspiring to live in a bigger home.
Is that really an
Or I
aspiration?
don't know, maybe it
Yeah.
is for some people.
Yeah, but isn't that also the thing of, um, before enjoying A, you're already jumping to Z.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
So that's the mindset.
That's exactly what I've been talking about.
No, I'm saying how do you change that? I know, but how do you change that mindset?
I don't have
I'm not
the complete
asking.
answer, but I'm saying that's
Like
one thing
how
which
would you
helps me.
want
Yeah,
to?
I'm telling you, which is you just used my golf thing as a negative example, but that's what I do. I try to not take things too seriously, whether it's with anything, because I feel it's too much ego when you take things seriously. Because whether it's the role of a father, whether it's the role of a friend, if you go in with too much of this, oh, you know what, I have to be the best friend ever, I have to be the best father ever, it comes with too much outcome
Pressure.
attached to it. Not pressure, outcome. Like if you don't do that, then you have these goal setting, the to-do list, all these. I feel if I just say, you know what, this is what I can do, I will enjoy it. If I can't do it, I'll try. But it's not going to be like, oh, trash yourself for not achieve for
So
doing
I
that.
think there is also in that particular example, like there is some amount of responsibility and there is some amount of um, accountability, and you are living with people and society and your family and friends. So you do have to do some amount, right?
No, I
To
don't think so.
then your child will just go rolling down the stairs or what? Like that's
I
what I'm
mean, you're
trying.
putting concepts where concepts are not needed, because you're not clearly not going to, just because you're not serious, because you're not doing it seriously, it
No,
doesn't mean you're
like
going to drop your child on its head, right?
no, but if you say I
I'm
can
talking
only do
about,
so much,
yeah, I mean, the thing is, you can do what you can do. The problem is you constantly
then somebody else has to do it.
something. I mean, as again, no, there's no dad of the year, there's no mother of the year.
Nobody's saying that. But I'm saying like
Exactly.
between the two of us, right?
The point is, every part of your life, you are holding yourself up to some moral or some standard which you might not be able to fulfill, and as a result feel crap about yourself. There are too many podcasts about parenting, too many books about parenting. My point is, if you are, I'm not saying you shouldn't do, I'm saying if you have the mindset of don't take it too seriously and don't have too much outcome attached to it, you naturally will have the instincts to provide for your child and nurture the child. Now, each person does it differently, but now if everyone tries to do it as a podcast would prescribe, or as a book would think, then it's constantly living up to someone else's standard, right?
Yeah, but I
If
think
there is a Sadguru saying that, you know what, this is the path to spirituality, that's his path. But my point, I'm not Sadguru. I have to find my own path. Now, this is what I'm saying when it comes to anything, you have to figure out your own ways. You'll make mistakes. But if there's a constant mirror, or there's a constant thing you're holding yourself against, which is this level or the standard or this outcome, you're always going to be upset or disappointed or frustrated, because you're not giving yourself a chance to enjoy that and experiment and make those mistakes and not be too attached to the outcome. You're constantly holding yourself to this perceived sense of best father, best mother, perfect father.
I think my point of my approach to it and my understanding of it is not best father, best mother, whatever. I have certain things that I want to give to that child or to any situation, whether it's work or whatever the outcome is. Like, I have some idea of the life that I want to lead because I know that there are certain things that give me a lot of joy and pleasure. So I'm working towards that. So, what I'm saying is, you should try to keep working towards that thing, right? Like till you get it and enjoy it in the process instead of just saying, you know what, I'm not taking this too seriously. Let me wash my hands off
That's,
of it and
I
forget
mean,
about
that's
it.
how you look at seriously, and that's why we're different people, right? You do the
I know,
things
that's
you
why I'm
have
telling you
to.
my point of view.
Good, because no one's asking anyone to do it the way I do. I'm just saying it gives me a lot more clarity. It gives me a lot more ability to kind of do the thing when I'm not too attached with the outcome and
Why
I'm
do
not
you
doing.
feel so, uh, like, why do you take that so seriously? Like,
What?
I feel like you constantly are fighting to not do a certain thing. You know, like what I
That's
mean?
your speculation. That's
I'm
your.
asking you,
No, you are.
Sandeep.
This is how you project, right? And this is what I get bugged with, because you think you just said, "Oh, you're golf. You're this thing." You claim that you are so willing to let go and let live and let live, but
I'm
you
not
clearly are
claiming.
judging the way I approach. Because
No,
what
I'm
gives
not
me a
claiming to
way to
firstly to
enjoy.
live. I don't think I'm
I
great in
mean,
any way.
I'm not saying you're great, but what I'm saying exactly about this is it gives me a lot more room to enjoy a certain thing when I take my mind away from doing it too seriously. Because the word serious comes with outcome, with achievement, with too many things which I don't necessarily appreciate for what it's done for me in the past. And just all my examples. I'm not telling anyone how to live their life. And I use these examples of godmen or spiritual leaders because it's something I've witnessed, right? If you only say that's your path, and I don't even think a person like that would say, follow my path or there's no other way, because this is how they've done it. You take the tools they give you and figure out your own way.
Yeah.
That's it. And that's what I mean by serious. You've taken it to a next level,
No,
saying
I'm
this is,
asking you a different question. You're not even understanding it.
there's no question I
Like,
understood.
why do you feel that everything is serious to need to detach from it?
Because I think that's what has
Like,
led me down a path which has not been fulfilling, and it's also led me to feel like as though I'm second to everyone, because there is this kind of thing I sense from people is that if you don't do it our way, then we're not going to reward you.
so let's talk about it from your comedy point of view.
Not
If that,
comedy from a human being point. Like, why comedy? Because it comes in all relationships, right? I've noticed this, and I think a lot of people who live with a disability in this country also will experience it. If you are convenient to us and you agree with us and you suit our agenda and you're not a threat to us, you're the best guy, you're an inspiration. But the moment you come into that space, people don't like it. And I've noticed this across the board.
so give one example.
I've given him enough examples on episodes, but I've seen people who feel threatened and then they pass comments to put you in your place. And this is something which has been shared with me by other people with their experiences, whether it's with work, if they're doing well at work and they're not really a threat to any of their colleagues, they're great. They're such an inspiration. They're such a great colleague. But the moment they get the promotion that someone else thought they deserved, they're being put down. They're being called whatever.
Competition.
What?
Competition. Like if they are not,
No,
if
they're
they're not,
using their blind card. They're using the disabled card. So it's always weird when I bring this, when I say it's not too serious, because for me, when I say serious, it's the ego, right? It's like when you really have to do something to prove yourself. Then it kind of makes the whole process nasty. You put people down. You kind of put yourself down when it doesn't work out. You kind of get combative. You get frustrated. I'm not saying if you do it without, and I think seriousness is different from commitment and dedication, right? You do it, but seriousness is more the attachment to the outcome and that kind of thing is what I mean. There's nothing wrong having aspirations. There's nothing wrong having goals or having dreams or imagining a certain thing. I'm just talking about the approach, the mindset.
yeah, but I'm wondering how, if all of that is seriousness, right? Like having that commitment,
No, I
aspiration.
don't think so. You can do things I'm committing to doing this. Is it serious? No. I feel it's how you approach it, right? Like every episode, if I come here going, come on, you have to do it so well that it's the best episode, or it's going to go viral or not go viral. I'm talking about that outcome. We're still going to give the product or the episode our time,
Full.
the dedication of thinking of what we're talking about or winging it as we do. But I just feel there's too much laid out, too much noise, too many things being put out there, too many concepts that people use to kind of distract themselves from the reality, which is just look at yourself and use the tools you have. And if we're all, going to be expecting the world to be presented to us when we're not even able to appreciate what we want to do, is going to cause a lot of friction with our expectations and the reality, no?
I think in general, like, apart from social media, of course, that is a large part to play in how you perceive things and how you experience things. But like, even expectations of yourself that has been set in stone right from when you were like young is hard to shed. Like, how much ever you try to do what you feel and like whatever, on a daily basis you're hit with the opposite, right? So then it's not so easy to just be like, I'm gonna just chill. Because society, people, your family, friends, everyone does, even if they don't tell you, like if they're doing certain things, you will feel like that. Like, you have to be so,
On guard.
yeah, like,
And that's exactly why I'm saying the word, saying the statement, not to take things too seriously, because of all these things that are a part of my conditioning, right? Because you can say this as much as you want to yourself, but the moment you talk to a friend who's just like, I'm doing this, I'm saving up here, I'm saving
yeah,
up.
that's all. They're just
It,
saying what they are doing.
it sends you, it triggers you. But it's one of those things which it takes over time. You keep saying this to yourself, and each person might have a different line they repeat to themselves, right? Whether it's manifesting or whatever, the visualization or whatever concepts you use. I'm just saying this helps me because it's always the messaging which I've heard is you are only worth what you've achieved, and I don't think that's true.
Yeah, not at all.
And I think for me, what helps is if I can enjoy it. And of course, when I say enjoy, it's not going to be like topless on the beach in the Bahamas.
Why not though?
What I mean is not that kind of enjoy. Yeah, that's different. I mean, people think that if you say enjoy, it's like work and enjoy, the two different things. No, you can enjoy everything, including being topless in the Bahamas.
Yeah.
For me, I mean, I don't know why I'm topless. I'm always topless. But I'm saying frivolous is what people think. But enjoying fun, enjoying work, all that is a part of enjoying. Why is there a distinction? When people say work-life balance, it's so stupid. Like, how can you take away life and make life and work the same kind of comparison? Because life is the most fundamental thing. Work is just something you do.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean you give it less respect. You do it well. But the moment you say fun or enjoy or not take it too seriously, people are like, you're going to fail.
Yeah.
Why do you have to fail at something because you're not taking it too seriously? You can enjoy it. You can laugh. You can fool around. Doesn't everything have to be like it's a rat race? If I don't win, that means I'm a loser.
So I think again, then it comes down to if you know that for yourself, like if you have an insecurity, say about working out, right? Like, and then somebody else says, oh, they did like 10K or something.
Yeah.
You're like, shit. See?
Yeah,
I'm
but
like
because
this,
you
like
aren't
that. So you have to like who you are and
you have to appreciate. See, this is again the problem, right? Where everyone's expected to do 10,000 steps or get a Fitbit and have their heart monitor, whatever, right? You don't.
You
just
don't, but you
enjoy
should
your
also,
own expression of exercise.
And you shouldn't feel anything, but you should be happy that the other person is doing it because that gives them joy, no?
Exactly. That's their process of doing what they do. And maybe some people have a dodgy heart. They can't do 10K. Maybe they'll be able to walk 5 minutes. My point is that you need to just figure out what your expression is, the statement that gives you a sense of, this is my sense of grounding me every day.
Yeah.
Whether it's doing your 1,000 skips, whether it's, doing an ice plunge, whatever it may be. But
yeah, whatever it may be.
If you can not take it like, I missed a class, I missed my Zumba class, I missed my workout, my personal trainer, whatever. If you have that thing that, it's not the end of the world. I don't have to worry about it today. It just becomes a lot less of a pressure situation, because if you miss 3 classes, suddenly you're seeing all this stuff being thrown at you, going, this person lost 10 kilos, this person got a 6-pack, this person ran.
You'll start feeling insecure about
Not
it.
insecure.
Sensitive.
You get stressed about something you don't need to stress about.
Yeah, but you are insecure about it, no?
Insecure is different. I'm talking about just stress. Insecure is talking about a lot more deeper stuff. Stress is something which is of course, insecurity contributes to that.
Yeah.
But I'm saying that insecurity comes from within you. The pressures come from outside. So combination builds this pressure situation. I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to become fat and I'm going to die, and that causes all the stress. But I'm just saying, if you don't, okay, you missed a class, it's fine. Just go down, whatever your thing is. Maybe instead of doing 1 hour intense workout, just, you know what, do 5 push-ups, whatever. I'm saying you start doing things for yourself and not taking it
We're too hard on ourselves
no,
a
the
lot of time.
outcome. You're doing all this just for the outcome because you can compare yourself to others. But you don't take away the outcome. You enjoy the process, and the outcome just does and takes care of itself, I feel.
I don't know about doing things without an outcome, no?
I mean, you're different from me again, right? We're
I
different
know, I'm
people.
thinking about it.
Yeah.
I'm trying to see how
And
that
that's
would
why we're in
feel.
different parts of our
Like
life, because you're so driven by outcome and I'm not.
No, like with Shasa, it's not at all outcome driven. It's just fully being there with her, taking care of her because she's dependent at this stage. Like with her, it's fully that. But this is not no outcome. Like this podcast.
Yeah. That's why we do it. And that's why we're not worried when we miss a week.
I mean, I was a bit worried. Because I'm like, shit, you missed a week. Then I'm
It's
like,
okay. You know what? I'm not a slave to the algorithm. Yeah, people enjoy it. And you know what? Again, if you only worry about, oh my God, we have hit 1 million. Of course, it'll be lovely when we hit 1 million. But doesn't mean I'm going to break my head. Of course, sometimes it's just not possible to record with Shasa, with no one there to look after her on that day we record, or whatever things happen.
and
But
everything else that we're doing.
yeah, so it's fine. But when we do it, we want to give it everything.
I think it would be nice if we were more accepting of each other and how the other chooses to live their lives and not being judgmental. Because if we ourselves are judgmental of somebody else, then obviously it'll come back to bite you, right?
Obviously, and I heard this just yesterday, and people might scoff at the idea that I listen to Tucker Carlson, but I do. I listen to everyone. I listen to everything that they have to say because I think that's interesting. And sometimes after 5 episodes, I'm like, you know what, this 5 books of an author. My point is, give everyone a chance, right? But he said, take care of your partner, and your child will be taken care of because, the thing is, if the parents get along, the child will benefit from it.
Yeah. The other day when we were fighting and Shasa walked into the house and immediately the other day when we were fighting, she was there and we were not fighting. We were just like sternly arguing because she was around. And at that point, she's like, Amma, I want milk or whatever. She kept going on because she wanted to disperse the fight. After that, I'm like, they are such sensitive beings that it's so mindless of us to be giving her that situation or giving her that environment because
we were taking that situation too seriously. We wanted to resolve the argument. And sometimes, dude, it's tough for whatever reason with all the resources you have. It's a new phase in anyone's relationship with a child there, right? And with all the expectations we bring on how we want to parent, what we want, how we want that child to benefit. We want everything good to give her a good foundation. Dynamic. So there will be so many things, chemically, physically, emotionally. So that day I was like, you know what? It happens. So that's where the seriousness aspect came. I mean, I don't mean I'm going to be like, what, do your thing, run without being watched or anything like that. Safety is primary. Safety.
I understand it from a conceptual point of view, but
it's not concept. Yeah, but each person does it differently. Yeah. Because when I take her to the park, I'm not going to be able to see every move of hers. It's not going to be like I'm going to trust a stranger going, hey, you're that kid's mother. Can you watch my child? No, I'll make sure there are 2 people with me looking out for her. That's the way I do it. The way you do it, you'll probably be much more hands-on. So essentially, at the end of it, she's safe, right?
Yeah, that I don't have a doubt about.
All right. Thank you so much for being a part of this conversation with us, bearing with our bickering at points and also our attempts at understanding what role we play in our relationship with each other and with our daughter and in the larger context of things. As always, do join us in the comments. Do, share any suggestions, any feedback, or any thoughts on these topics we talk about. And needless to say, would much appreciate your help if you could share this with like-minded people or specifically one individual who you think might appreciate this. Because one by one might help go to 2.
We go into things with so much heart and feeling, even though this conversation, I mean, it kind of goes all over the place, and I feel like we're really, really raw here on these podcast episodes. Um, and the idea behind it is for us to kind of just be real, because there's so much online that is stitched together and presented and portrayed in a certain way that actually isn't this what it all is about? Like, all of this is part of life, I guess. But yeah, we'd love to know what you think. Thank you so much for listening, and like he said, please share it with somebody that you think may find this interesting. Thank you.
Bye. Anyhow, do you have anything else you want to talk about on this episode?